I'm here with the wonderful Julia Murney, who's best known for her Broadway career, including playing Elphaba in Wicked and Queen in The Wild Party, but who is here in Raleigh directing Significant Other, which opens next week for Theater Raleigh. Very exciting.
I'm very excited.
So Significant Other premiered in 2015 to very good reviews. New York Times called it one of the top 10 plays of that year. And said it was tenderly unromantic, romantic. They said it was a tenderly unromantic romantic comedy, is richly funny and ultimately heart-stirring. Tell me a little bit about what Significant Other is about.
I actually saw it both off Broadway and on Broadway because I had friends in it. It's about generally it's about a group of 20-somethings in New York City. A guy called Jordan and his 3 best girlfriends, and during the scope of the show, people meet and people get together, and some people get married, and it's sort of about them all trying to find their way in life, and most specifically in love. And then there's a character who is Jordan's grandmother, who is a bit more of the wisdom center because she's had some life lived.
I'm going to ask you about the grandmother in a second, but I watched an interview last night. We were talking about it, making brews and paying dues, where you were talking about social media and how social media kind of exacerbates how we see people, particularly famous people, which I think is kind of course we're on Facebook Live, but I think it's kind of
irony.
A millennial thing. And one of the things that was written about this play and the playwright Josh Harmon is that he's an astute chronicler of the quandaries facing the millennial generation. What are some of the issues kind of facing the millennials in this play, and is that part of what makes this play kind of so special as one of the top 10 plays?
I mean, it's interesting because the play actually is not set. The play is set today. But there's no part of it there's no political bent to it. It just is. So it could be basically any time as long as there is a whole sort of Facebook sequence in the play, but it's not heavily dependent upon, it's not about social media, but it's definitely there. And that part of social media, when you have a crush on someone and you go onto their Facebook page and you try to see what friends you have in common and like what are they all about, and there's a part where Jordan is actually trying to figure out if a coworker of his is gay, and the only way he can figure out how to figure that out is to go into Facebook and troll all his pictures and be like, aha. And it's I think there's something to that in life of like getting a little background on a stranger, but then there's the obsessive tendency to it that can get troublesome, and that also sort of comes to play a little bit in the show. I think what Joshua Harmon, he just won a drama desk the other night for this play Admissions, and I've never met him. I would very much like to, because I have questions. And
Josh, if you're watching.
Yes. And congratulations also. Loved your play, saw it twice. But yeah, he definitely has like his finger on the pulse of not only the way social media interactions work, but just the way, when I saw the play, there was a part of me that wanted to go, oh my God, it's going to get so much worse. Stop complaining. Because I am not, fun fact, 20-something. And so I think there's just an age, you take things in a different manner, and he has a great facility for the way, I guess millennials is maybe what they are. I'm not sure. I don't know how the categories work. People in their 20s, which is obviously a blanket statement, but generally the way they interact and speak and love and deal with things.
And the questions they have, one thing I read on the Significant Other promo page for Theater Raleigh is you said, this speaks to the questions we ask, namely, who am I? Why on earth am I here? Is it all about love? These are kinds of questions that all people ask, not just millennials.
Yeah.
So is that what makes this play so relatable?
Well, I think that's exactly what I mean. I had friends who are the age range of the people in this play, who, when they saw this play, were like, "Oh my God, I cried through the whole play," and I did not cry through the whole play, just simply because I was looking at it with a part of perspective. I wasn't not interested, but that wasn't my reaction. But I think that what's lovely about it is the way that you can. A great play is relatable to anyone, not just someone of a certain age or a certain religion or a certain race or whatever, that you see yourself in what's happening. That's what theater's for. It's not about you as an actor feeling all your feelings or getting all the laughs or doing that. It's about you allowing the people watching to feel all the feelings or laugh or cry or whatever it is. And it's, I think, what makes the play so entertaining, because no matter whatever your age is, whatever your whatever is, you can see yourself in what's happening. Or not, but you can, there are enough characters to see yourself in, and then there'll be one character who'll be like, I know her, and I'm not about that. But it's all there. There's a tapestry there.
Well, either someone you know or something you've been through.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel as you get older, maybe these 20s and 30 somethings are asking themselves these questions, but you or I feel as I've gotten older anyway, you still have the questions,
Absolutely.
but you're just so much more comfortable in your own skin than
Well,
when you're
there's a line that the grandmother says at one point to him, and she says, "It's a long book. You're in a rough chapter, but it's a long book, and you don't know when this chapter is going to end, but you just have to get through it." And she doesn't and then she doesn't go on to say, because once you get through it, the rainbows will come down from the sky and unicorns will skip by. That's not what she says. I mean, there's more to the speech, but you have to come see it to understand what it is. But there's the knowledge of that, the knowledge of sometimes there are really rough seas, and you and that weird frustration of when you're in a heartache situation, and then you look out the window and there are people like walking to work or going to the grocery store, and you want to go, "Where are you going? How dare you live your life? I'm having a heartbreak. Everything has stopped in its tracks for me." But the truth of the matter is the world just keeps spinning and everyone keeps living their lives. And at some point you kind of run alongside and then you catch up. And sometimes I think without noticing, we catch up. We'll just be like, oh, I'm back in.
I'm in it.
Yeah. But once you've gone through that several times, this is sort of also about like that first heartbreak, that first real adult heartbreak. And once, if you happen to have clocked that a few times, then you go, right. The heartache is different because you know you can survive it, even though the first time you're like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to die. I'm going to die from my blood boiling over and my heart is broken.
Right.
And
kind of when you're in that space where your friends are all getting married or your friends are all hooking up. I know, I've had friends who they want their careers first. So a lot of us got married or had families, and they're kind of looking on, and there's kind of that that loneliness that sets in. So I can see that.
But I think there's also that total grass is greener situation. I mean, one of my best friends from college lives in upstate New York, and she has 4 kids and is still acting and does theater up there. But like our roads stopped being parallel. Our roads sort of went that way. And we've had those conversations where I think part of her thinks, oh, well, you're in New York and you're doing things and you get to travel places. And I'm like, you come home to this family. Like, it's all,
It's always, the grass is greener. That's a good way to say it. So in 2006,
my dog is now crawling onto Lauren's lap. That's what you can't see. She's a very good girl.
Oh, you're so sweet.
She's made of love.
You can.
In 2006, you did an interview with Playbill, and you had just gone into Wicked, and you talked about kind of the need to get yourself out of the box and challenge yourself a little bit. I know you directed Smokey Joe's Cafe last year, and
did.
so this is kind of your second, step in directing for Theater Raleigh. Is directing kind of part of that getting out of your box, getting out of your comfort zone?
Definitely. I mean, I've known Lauren Kennedy Brady, who is the artistic director at Theater Raleigh, for many, many, many years. When she was primarily just an actress, not just an actress in New York, and we did concerts together. We traveled to Australia together to do concerts. So I've known her for a long time. And then when she took over Theater Raleigh, she would say to me, I think you should come down and direct. I'd be like, yeah, cool. And then I would let it go. Because I think I was just like, I don't know. And then she just kept on me. And finally one day she was like, well, what would you like to direct? I went, I don't know, because I've never done it. So just give me something. So she just threw me Smokey Joe's Cafe last year, which frankly I probably wouldn't have chosen, simply because it's hard review. It's 40 songs, and it's tricky to figure out how to do that. But it challenged me to figure it out, and I really loved it, and I was helped a great deal also by my choreographer Abby O'Brien, who will be here again later in the season directing, it's nice to be in a different position in the room, and I feel like the directors I have worked with who are also actors or were once actors, however you want to phrase it, there's an empathy they have for what actors are going through that I always appreciate as an actor, and I'm hoping to be doing that for them now, and it's really enjoyable. I really like it.
Do you have a preference, directing or acting? Well, you've done so much, not just acting. I mean, you've done concerts, you've done voiceovers, you've done...
But my preference is, if I can continue making a living inside the entire umbrella called show business, the thing that I like to do, that's my preference. I mean, it's hard to pick one, because I can pick one, and then if I think hard enough, I can think of all the things about it that can be a drag. Mm-hmm. But generally, they all have a great amount of satisfaction in them.
Now that you've done, or you're in the middle of doing this play, you did Smokey Joe's, are there any other plays you're dying to direct?
That's the question that I still don't really have the answer for. There are directors that I look to, like my friend Michael Arden, who is the director of a musical on Broadway right now called Once on the Silent. It's a revival. Michael, to me, he's also an actor. That he has this vision. Like there are certain shows that you go to see that are so, and Once on the Silent is a revival, and he's really turned it about. It's so glorious. Please go see it. I saw it on Broadway originally, and it's all been like just reimagined, and it's so glorious. And I feel the same way when I see something like that as when I go to see a show and I see an actor, like just nailing it. My first thought is not, ooh, I'd like to play this part. My first thought is always, good for her. Look at that. That's hard. She can do that. Let her do that. And then I look at something like what Michael has done with Once on the Silent, and I go, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then you realize that because he did that, I'm not supposed to do that.
Right.
So, but I don't have quite the brain yet for, I think I'm starting to get that feeling of, I'd like to direct that. But I can't think of a show off the top of my head because it's too much pressure.
Well, we'll have to see next summer. I'm sure Lauren
yes.
Kennedy will bring you back.
That would be very nice.
So you've done so much, like I said, from television to voiceovers to concerts to playing Elphaba on Broadway.
Are you a Wicked fan? I feel like you're a Wicked fan.
I feel like I am a little bit.
Just the way I see your face when you say Elphaba.
I get excited because it's one of the first shows I shared with my daughter that she really loved.
That's the best part.
So I think that's why I like it so much. But do you have a favorite role I have to ask about?
That I've played?
That you've played?
Queenie in the Wild Party. I mean, simply because it was my first sort of big thing in New York, and it was written on me. So when you have a show written on you, like sort of Wicked in its way was borrowed. And like all of us who've done it since Adina, we borrow it and we try it, but it's all informed. Well, I think it's all informed for me anyway, because I did it a long time ago. There were much fewer there had only been like 4 other women who'd played it. I feel like I borrowed from all of them. But when you get to do something originally, like from scratch, that's really delicious. So that's probably my favorite in terms of my own like heart. But Wicked certainly is not. But there are also a bunch of shows that I've done for a week at like, the Murney in St. Louis that I loved doing. So it's not necessarily about a Broadway run versus a New York run versus a regional.
Well, there's such great theaters all over
Absolutely,
the place.
yeah.
So. And what's next for you after Significant Other?
I have no idea. There's the fun. Don't be jealous. I mean, I have 2 little concerts to do, and I'm singing at the Show Choir Camp of America. Sure, that's a thing. Look it up. I've been there before. It's actually super fun. And so I just have 2 concerts, and then I have no idea. I mean, this is the life of the actor.
The life of the theater.
Yes, exactly. So we'll see.
Well, let's let's put in that plug for Significant Other.
Yes.
Significant Other runs June 13th through 24th at Theater Raleigh, which is at the Kennedy Theater in downtown Raleigh, a beautiful space. And we hope to see you there.
Please come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.